Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal. We got Dr. Brandon Nielsen with us today. I have a wonderful topic I want to talk about with you today,
Okay.
which is our perspectives, our belief systems, the ones that we're born into, the ones that we develop along the way as we're growing up. And then as we start to peel back the layers of these perspectives as an adult and we add new belief systems and new perspectives, uh, and what happens over time is sometimes those new belief systems no longer serve us. And I think that as a human navigating the modern world that we're in, it can be really an interesting thing to release your ego and realize that maybe some of the belief systems that you adopted and have adopted along the way uh, no longer serve you. And I've been opening this conversation with a few people and a couple of my sisters in particular,
Hmm.
and they were like, wow, this is really an interesting thought process because I think that I just think that we're born into these things, and then when we release some of the things we're born with, and then we adopt new things, we we hold on to them,
Hmm.
even when they no longer serve us. So, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, that's an interesting topic, right?
Oh man, and we want to finish this in like a few minutes.
Yeah, we
This, I
wanted
mean,
to.
this is
Yeah,
like this is kind of deep. I guess there's a couple of things I'm thinking about, but one of the things I guess I would say this is we put so much weight upon what other people have to think about us, and it's interesting because they are in a pattern of belief. I mean, think about it like this: if you're to look back 10 years, maybe 20 years, and be like, I thought a lot of stupid things. Like, I had a lot of dumb ideas.
yeah, yeah,
Well, on the flip side of that, I think about when people criticize me now, I think they're kind of in a dumb moment of their life where 10 years from now, they're going to probably look back and be like, wow, I was wrong, you know? And so
So you give them grace, right?
I totally give them
Yeah,
grace. And that's kind of something I've been thinking about lately. But I also think about my own self in when you're talking, I was thinking about humility. What does that mean? Um, I think for me it's the willingness to learn
yeah.
and to recognize that I don't have all the answers, and I don't. And so I think, man, this is a topic we could really discuss long. But I think for me is I I'm trying to constantly be the learner. So it's like I'm Dr. Nielsen, but I'm just the learner.
Well, that's why you have 2 degrees, is because it was like you got this. Did you get your chiropractic degree
Yeah, I did
first?
that first. So I did a doctorate in chiropractic, and I'm like, I still feel like I need to learn. And depending on time, I'd probably even look at doing another PhD. But so I did a second doctorate in naturopathic medicine, but I'm constantly trying to learn. And people will come to me and they'll say, hey, look at this. What do you think? And I'm kind of like, that's a great idea. Even though they don't have any degrees, it's not the degree that helped me. It was just to
Right.
learn. So for me, I think I call it the dogma, all the old beliefs that we kind of brought into. I'm like, all the dogma that so much of it I've just let go in in so many areas of my life.
But I also think you're willing to be open to new ideas.
Open, I am open.
And that's where the being a constant learner, like,
Yeah.
you know, a really good example of this in my life is my husband's dad. He passed away when he was 88. And from the moment I met him, which was, I knew him for 18 years of his life, he was always learning. And he was
Mm,
a physics professor.
mm,
So he was highly educated. And he basically, every single conversation I would watch him have with other people, even if they were super young people,
mm-hmm.
people who were learning new things, or just humans in general, he always was a deep listener and he always was open to new ideas.
Right.
Because it's not, I think what happens is we might get a certain degree or we might learn a certain concept and we cement it into our belief system, but then we're not willing to say, oh, well, maybe that doesn't serve me like that, or oh, what about this avenue and this
Yeah.
possibility? And I
Right.
think, you know, I just read a book this week that I guess has been out for a while. It's by an author named Anthony DeMello. He's from India,
Okay.
and he wrote a book a few years ago called Awareness, and it
Hmm.
is mind blowing.
Really?
Yes. Yes. In fact, I listened to it on Audible. I listened to the whole thing, and and I was having all of these like moments of like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so after I finished the chapter, I went right back to the first chapter and listened to it again.
Oh, interesting.
So this is something I actually talked about a couple of videos ago. And I think that when we're able to release perspectives that no longer serve us and be open-minded and be willing to say, oh, that's something I hadn't thought of, or even be willing to go so far as to say, oh, maybe I was wrong.
Oh yeah, I was wrong. I mean, in so many instances.
Isn't it freeing to be able to do that without getting your ego in the way?
Absolutely, because it's kind of like so many people want to be right and they're addicted to being right.
Well, their identity is tied up in it too.
But I'm not right. I mean, yep, you're probably right. You know, it's, yeah. And that's the thing, again, being a learner. One other thing I think I've learned, especially, and I didn't know how to put it into words, but Colby Jenkins, you can look him up. Colby Jenkins, I think he was a colonel or something in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
But he said something, because I went up and talked to him. He had done a presentation. I went up and talked to him and I said, because he went through West Point, and in the book, I think it's Grit, they talk about how many West Point, I guess they call them cadets, they get appointed or whatever to be able to be accepted to the program, but how many actually graduate, or how many people actually graduate, like Navy SEALs or Green Berets or all these difficult things. How many people actually graduate from college? How many people are still in business after the first year, right?
Right.
And what's interesting about that is he said something that I said, how did you make it through West Point? You know, it's tough. And he said, something that I adopted, my grandpa told me, and I think it was something similar to Ed Milet. He's actually releasing a book, or maybe he just released it, but it was along these same lines. But Colby Jenkins' grandfather told him when he entered that school, he said, just remember this, wait till tomorrow to quit. And so Colby said that, you know, they would be in the trenches and it was so hard and it would be freezing cold. And he's like, this is so stupid. I want to quit. But then he'd remember, you know what, my grandpa said, just quit tomorrow. And so he kept that with him. Well, he graduated the program because every today was tomorrow, right? And tomorrow is now today. And so he's like,
just get through today.
Get through today. In other words, I'm going to make it just through today. And he looked at that. Ed Milet talks about the same way. He says, I don't know his exact phrasing, but kind of the same type of thing is, do you know what? Quit tomorrow. Don't quit today. Just give it one more day and quit tomorrow. And so then tomorrow is now today. Well, you can't quit on it today. You have to quit tomorrow. And so in that case, I'm going to say this is kind of funny, but you guys procrastinate the great things. Meaning what? Not procrastinate quitting, because you want to live today and give it just one more day.
I think that's so relevant for these times that we're in.
It is, because I was looking back on my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I do it? How did I make it?
Yeah.
I wanted to quit 1,000 times being Dr. Nielsen, and I did sometimes, but then I got back in it, and I look, and the things that we're doing now, after I've quit 1,000 times in my mind, but I didn't. I just decided to quit tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm here. I'm still
that.
here. And the lives that we're blessing now and what we're teaching, it's helping not just people that are in front of my face.
Yeah.
But I mean, even on this YouTube video, I hope this serves you, but we're helping many more people that I'll never even meet, because I'm quitting tomorrow, you guys.
He's not going to quit today.
Not today.
Well, you know what? That's such a beautiful concept, because I think we if we project our thoughts out into the future, it can seem overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why am I doing this? I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to give up and numb myself out to whatever. Right. But the thing is like, you're not going to always have days where you're going to feel like quitting.
No.
I think most days.
Although I feel like I did.
Yeah, I think we all go through times in our life where we're just like, this is just way too hard. I'm just done with this. So, I hope this gave you some nuggets of thought about being a constant learner, always growing, always being willing to open your perspectives. And then when the days get tough, wait and quit tomorrow. Don't do it today. Like, that's such a great thing to wrap your head around.
And then when tomorrow comes, it's today, so you can't quit. So wait until tomorrow, and you can quit tomorrow.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for stopping by and dropping some knowledge. Yeah, so you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.